Yo, what's up fanbase, it's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you again with another what if. This time I'll be bringing you What If Deku Had All Form Part 11, so I hope you're going to look forward to this because I worked really long and hard, so let's start that intro and get into it.
See me through the fuck, bitch. Crazy, saying that she hate me. Obliterate the pussy, feral animal with rabies. Yo, bitch, fucking dirty. She got scabies. Wipe the Tatiana, then trapped you with some babies. Everyone thinking that they gon' save me. Depressive motherfucker, I don't wanna steal you.
10 months had passed as the boys were practicing on the beach with their quirks as they were doing light stretches with Endeavor and Toya watching over them. As Endeavor motions for all of them to gather up, the boys get over there and sit down in the sand as they wait for Endeavor to give instruction. Endeavor looked them all over as he was kind of excited to see how much progress they've made over this summer. I am truly impressed with all of your hard work these past 10 months, and I could see that you still have a little bit of issues here and there, but there's nothing that UA can't fix in the long run. Izuku had a big grin on his face as he was thinking how easy the entrance exam is going to be. Still can't believe that the entrance exam is tomorrow. It feels like only yesterday that we started training. Shoto was laying his hands behind his head as he laid down in the sand. Speak for yourself, the gruesome training that we had to go through, especially while learning about our new quirks, was horrible. Shinso was looking around wishing that Eraserhead was here to give him some more training on using his new capture scarf. Training may have been hard, but I think we're ahead of most people our age. Titan was scratching the back of his head as he was watching the ocean, not really paying attention. Are we going home soon? We should be resting before the big exam tomorrow. Instead, we're here bright and early. Endeavor clapped his hands together, trying to get all the boys' attention real quick. Don't worry, today's training is going to be a light spar. I'm going to set you up into groups of 2. The winner of each group will fight that person, and then they will end up winning a big prize, getting to use their hero costume during the entrance exam. Toya started to chuckle in amusement, thinking about how high the stakes are. That's kind of cruel, but I actually understand that it's great motivation. I've seen all of your hero costumes, and they'll definitely help out with your quirks and movability. Titan grinned in excitement. I like a good challenge. Who am I fighting? Shoto sat up as he was starting to get excited himself. You guys are literally fighting in my territory. This is going to be a blowout. Shinso got onto his feet as he properly prepared his capture scarf for battle. I'm looking forward to trying this out against all of you. Izuku just lays back in the sand. I love watching all of you talk crap when you know that I'm going to end up beating you all in the end. Endeavor was beyond excited to hear all of their competitive spirit. Alright, the first match will be Izuku versus Shinso, and the second match will be Shoto versus Titan. These pairings will definitely be interesting. I encourage you to use as much strength as you want, but do know that it will affect you tomorrow by being sore if you go all out. Shinso smiled as he walked away from the group a little bit, getting ready on the beach. I just can't wait to win. Izuku springs onto his feet as he goes into position, pulling out a pair of earplugs from his pocket as he puts them in. Now I can't hear a single word you're saying to me. You're going to have to fight me with your pure strength instead of using your brainwashing ability. Toya stepped in between the both of them as he was holding up a stick pretending it was a microphone. Alright, I'm going to explain the rules to the both of you. Rule 1 is that you're not allowed to steal quirks, Izuku. Izuku chuckled, using his ability to read lips, knowing what his older brother was telling him. I did it one time and you guys keep on holding it over my head. Toya just chuckled in amusement. Rule 2, no crippling attacks. We don't want to limit anyone's performance for tomorrow's entrance exam. Shinso just smiled as he finally finished adjusting his capture scarf so it would be perfect for battle. Well, it's a good thing that most of my attacks are capture based. Toya started to step backwards, not wanting to get caught in the crossfire of the first attack. And the final rule is if your opponent gives up or is knocked unconscious, the battle is automatically over. With all that said, begin! Shinso let out his muscle fibers as he goes to charge at Izuku, only for him to actually see Izuku raise his hand and release 5% of his wind cannon, shooting him across the beach. Izuku just started to chuckle as he watched Shinso skip like a stone across the sand. You would think charging the person who has a literal wind cannon built into his hand would make you think that you shouldn't charge that person. Shinso gets up realizing he has to fight at a distance or figure out a way to close the gap. Oh, don't worry, this battle isn't over yet. Izuku just uses sign language to communicate. I'm not going to speak to you directly so you can't use your second quirk, so just give up already. Shinso just tries to think as he notices a dust cloud, which gave him an idea to use his muscle fiber hands to smack into the sand and make a cloud for him to hide in. Don't count me out yet, I will close the gap. Izuku was wondering what Shinso was saying to him because of the earplugs as he started to look around the dust cloud. This truly could become annoying, so I'll just wait for something to happen. Shinso shot out his entire capture scarf throughout the dust cloud to wrap around Izuku and then threw him with all of his strength. I guess there is a way to close the gap. If you can't keep up with my movements and I can bound you up, it doesn't matter how much power you have. Izuku starts to think to himself how much he's going to have to pay Shinso for a new scarf as a red tail started to come out of his back, cutting him free. As he got onto his feet, using his hands for sign language to keep himself from getting mind controlled. I will buy you a new scarf when we're done here, but I have to get serious now. Shinso just looked at the broken part of his scarf, a little bit annoyed, but realized that it happens. You bet you're going to pay for a new one. I'm not upset, but I do want a replacement. Izuku just smiled as he used 2% of his wind cannon to make a bigger dust cloud than Shinso did earlier as he disappears into it. Come and find me, Shinso. Shinso follows into the dust cloud looking for any disturbances as he starts to twirl around his capture scarf trying to blow away parts of the cloud, but realized it wasn't enough. Damn it, where are you? As all of the bystanders of this fight were wondering what was happening inside the dust cloud, they started to hear a loud banging noise as Izuku came out flying, as he was rolling in the sand like he was hit by something. As everybody was about to get in closer, they saw that Shinso came flying out of the dust cloud from the opposite side. As they see 4 individuals standing in the middle as the sand started to rest, they reveal 4 clones of Izuku. They then look at each other, then back to the clone that actually went flying as it poofed away. That was definitely a close call for me, Shinso, but you swung and missed. Now try again. Which one of us has the wind cannon? Shinso was getting up as he was breathing heavily, watching Izuku and his clone shuffle around as he was making sure that they didn't know which was which. I really hate that you using that trick along with actually knowing how to stop my brainwashing quirk from working. Izuku just makes some hand signs. Sucks to be you. As 3 of his clones run forward, leaving one behind, they just rush Shinso as they continue to shuffle. Welcome to my quirk shuffle. Shinso realized that he had no way of getting out of this, so he didn't want to get injured and decided to put away his muscle fibers. I surrender the match to you, Izuku. Izuku stopped in his tracks 2 feet and right in front of Shinso as all of his clones started to laugh along with him as he took out his earplugs. Smart, if you would have taken those hits, I could not guarantee that nothing would have been broken, so what made you figure out which one of my clones had the air cannon? Shinso got onto his feet as he was starting to chuckle. Well, if we're talking about clones, I think it was the one that I punched. As it returned to you, you tried to lie and make it seem like one of your fakes had it. Izuku smiled as he was curious. Well, I'm glad that you saw through my trick. Everything that you said so far was true. You hit the one with the air cannon, and once you thought it was me, I made sure to attack you while your back was turned. Then I had to lie to you, making you think that you hit the wrong one, so tell me, what gave it all away? Shinso just pointed at Izuku. It's the fact that you decided to hang back and have 3 of your clones attack me. You only do that when your clone that usually has the wind cannon is taken out of the factor. Izuku let out a heavy sigh, realizing that he picked up on some bad habits that will give away his strategy in the future. Dang, I thought I got rid of that habit. Toya approached both of them. Winner of the first match is Izuku. Both of you take a seat on the side so we can let the others have their fight. Both of them just gave each other a nod as they fist bumped each other, allowing Titan and Shoto to get onto their position as Endeavor walked over to Izuku and Shinso, very pleased with them. I was very impressed by both of your creativity and logic behind each one of your attacks, showing that you definitely know how to wait and listen to your opponent, while also not being provoked by each other. Of course, there was definitely some instances where you could have gotten more shots on each other if you weren't messing around, and took the battle serious, but I'm not going to spoil the good mood now. Let's get ready to watch this next fight. Shinso took in every word that Endeavor said as they were looking over at the fight, wondering what was about to happen. I bet $5 that the first attack will come from Titan trying to step on Shoto. Izuku's ears started to tingle as he heard the bet. I'll take that action. $5 says that Shoto will try to use the sand around them to bind up Titan. Endeavor was amused by this as he wanted in on the bet. I will also bet $5 that the both of them will rush at each other before they try using their quirks. Toya goes over the rules one more time as he jumps back, letting the battle between Titan and Shoto begin. As they both charge at each other, rearing back their fists ready to punch each other as hard as they could right in the face, causing both of them to fall down onto the ground. As the both of them get back onto their feet, they jump about 10 feet back as we cut back over to the sideline with Endeavor holding out his hand and Shinso and Izuku giving him the money. Izuku was just so annoyed as he saw that his bet was a loss. How did you know that the both of them were going to charge each other? Shinso had an idea and felt confident about it. It's probably because he's been watching us all this time, picking up on all of our bad habits. Endeavor just laughed as he heard that. Not at all. While the both of you were fighting, they got into an argument about who could take a punch better than the other. So they said when the match begins, they're going to hit each other as hard as they could without their quirks. I just simply had more information than the both of you. As we cut back over to the fight, we see that Shoto is starting to manipulate the sand into a dome around Titan as it was starting to get closer and closer. As Titan then bit down on his hand, causing lightning to strike the ground where he was standing, as everyone was starting to see this gigantic skeleton start to form, with muscle and flesh like armor plating, standing about 15 meters tall as Shoto actually took a step back, a little bit surprised that he fully transformed transformed. You truly want to get this over with quickly, but don't think that you're the only one who has determination to win this battle. Titan looked down at his gigantic form as he started to bring his foot up to slam it down on the beach around Shoto. No hard feelings if you get hurt, but I can't allow you to get any prep work done with your abilities. Shoto dodged out of the way of the stomps as he actually used his wind ability to start flying around Titan to confuse him. The difference in our ability is that I have more mobility than you will ever have in this gigantic form. The only thing I have to do now is get through that hard armor of yours. Titan tried to swat Shoto out of the air, getting annoyed as he slammed both of his hands together, making a massive shockwave of air and sound, which caused Shoto's ears to start ringing as he was very close to the epicenter as he was falling out of the sky, only to be caught by Titan's hand and being squeezed a little bit. Do you surrender, Shoto? Shoto had a grin on his face while he was still recovering from the ringing in his ears as he was using his ice ability to freeze Titan's hand. You should have known coming in contact with me was a bad idea. Titan had a grin on his face with a look of victory in his eyes. Of course I realized you were going to freeze my hand, but you always seem to forget one thing about me, that I'm crazy when it comes to battle. As he takes his other hand and rip off the frozen hand that was frozen over as he tossed it into the sky over the ocean. I would break very quickly before you get trapped in the water. Shoto started to worry as he realized the situation was dire as he let out a massive flame breaking out of the hand as he used it to fly a little bit as he was shaking. That was a cheap trick and truly psychotic. Titan smiled as he showed the stump of his torn off hand as it started to grow back. Well, when you realize you can grow back limbs, you're willing to sacrifice parts of your body for more opportunities. Shoto shut off his flames while he switched over to his wing quirk so the wind could come out of his feet for more stable flight. As he gets closer, he starts to shoot fireballs at the joint of Titan's massive form, trying to slow him down and disable him. It looks like I might have to start changing my tactics with you. That armor of yours is very powerful. Titan was starting to get annoyed, realizing that he couldn't keep up with the speed in this form as he was waiting for the right opportunity. As he saw Shoto fly right behind his neck, he then launched himself out of his armored form trying to grab onto Shoto. I got you now. Both of them slammed into each other midair. Titan actually was able to hold on to Shoto, making him lose balance and control of his flight. Realizing that both of the boys were going to crash towards the ground, Titan decided to take the brunt of the fall and put Shoto on top of him. As they hit onto the sand hard, Shoto was surprised by the whole action while Titan was actually spitting up blood. In the end, I couldn't go through with it. Maybe I should start learning how to fight with a weapon. Shoto was laying down in the sand nearby, confused on what just happened. Why did you choose to take most of the damage from the fall for me? Titan started to chuckle while he was spitting up blood for a little bit that it seemed to actually start slowing down as it was healing quickly. Because if you would have been at the bottom of that slam, you would have been in the hospital for a few days. My situation is different. If you give me a few hours, my spine will actually heal completely back to normal. Besides, my regeneration is one of the best out there, so I forfeit from the match because I can't move. Toya was very impressed by the quick thinking and actions of this risky battle. Winner of this fight is Shoto. Izuku ran over as he started to activate his regeneration field quirk as they were coated in a green energy that was speeding up their regeneration. I gotta say that was very fun to watch, but the both of you are insane. Shoto was a little bit offended by that statement. Listen, you don't see me ripping off my hand and launching my body into the air with no way to actually land safely. Don't call me crazy. Titan had a big grin on his face as he started to sit up in the sand while laughing. This is coming from the guy who decided to freeze his opponent's hand while he was still literally inside of it. I could have either tore off my hand and threw it over the ocean, or I could have decided to use my open hand and crush the frozen one while you were still within it, so don't ruin my fun. Because at the end of the day, I had two options. I just went with the one that gave a better show. Endeavor walked over to the three of them. I think that all of us are a little crazy in our own way. It's what we do with that craziness that truly matters. I truly do look forward to watching the final battle between Shoto and Izuku. As they were about to start the final match, Mina along with Mirako showed up in tracksuits like they just got done running. As Mirako actually stopped everybody from having their final fight. Hold on a second, there's actually one more fight on your hand before you're allowed to start the finals. Endeavor was confused as he started to actually do a head count to make sure that he had the right amount of people. I'm pretty sure I have the right amount of people for the finals. Mirako grinned as she started to whistle out. Come on out, sweetie, it's time for you to show these boys how we girls' strength can beat any male. Everyone started to look around as a shadow came over her head as a girl with crimson hair and tan skin wearing a black and red jumpsuit as her red and brown wings were flapping right behind her. You called for me, Mom? Mirako just had a big smile on her face. Yes, I did, sweetie. You and Mina are going to go up against Izuku and Shoto to see which side is better. Izuku walked in between Endeavor and the other girls as he looked over to the one with wings. I'm looking forward to fighting against you, Yumi. Yumi grinned as she started to flap her wings hard, making a small sand twister between the both of them. It's not going to stand up like how it did last time. I'm going to win this time, Izuku. Izuku just smiled as a crimson tail came out of his back, slamming down onto the sand, getting rid of the dust between them. Just don't be sad if I clip your wings. As the both of them were playfully staring down at each other, Mina started to get jealous as she noticed that her boyfriend was staring down at another woman for far too long and started to pull on his ear. I think you've stared at her long enough. Why don't we get this battle started before I really get angry with you? Shoto just started to laugh, seeing that his brother was in trouble with his girlfriend over nothing. Alright, save all the jealousy and anger for the battle. Toya is about to get us into position on the beach. Mina started to pout a little bit as they followed Toya into position on the beach as we cut over to Endeavor and Mirako as they gave each other an intense glare for a second as they quickly reached into their back pocket and pull out their credit cards. Endeavor got a cocky look on his face. So how much do you want to wager, because I'm pretty sure the boys are going to win this? Mirako got annoyed by that comment as a vein showed up on her forehead. I don't know why you're so arrogant. Izuku's trump card is off the table. He can't steal quirks to win. And I see that Shoto is still shook from his previous fight, so I believe the girls will win this. Endeavor just started to chuckle out of amusement by Mirako's statement. And I thought that you knew Izuku's abilities better than that. And as for Shoto, when the chips are down, he's able to fight tooth and nail for the victory. Mirako was just thinking about what she just heard. How does 500 sound? Whoever wins gets $500 off of the other, but I'm pretty sure that my team's going to win it, so I'm not worried. Endeavor just raised an eyebrow in surprise. It's a lot lower than what I was expecting, but okay, playing it safe when you know you're on the losing side is alright. So yes, 500 is fine. I'm expecting cash by the time we leave the beach. As we go back to the others, Izuku and Shoto were standing on one side while Mina and Yumi were standing on the other. As Toya stand in the middle of all of them, ready to explain how this match is going to work. Alright, this wasn't how it was supposed to originally be held, but we're going to have boys versus girls. You are allowed to work with each other. As soon as the team is completely pinned, the match will be over. Do keep in mind that if your partner is pinned, you have 10 seconds to release them. If you go over that time limit, they will release from the match and you will have to fight your opponents by yourself. Also, we are not allowing crippling blows. If your opponent decides to surrender, we will be ending the match. With all that said, please begin. Toya jumped out of the way as fast as possible as both teams started to rush at each other as Mina was trying to get at Izuku, only to be stopped by a thick wall of ice that was created by Shoto. Sorry, but I'm not going to let you fight him knowing about your lovey-dovey relationship. He'll let you win if you go up against him, so if you want a fair match, you're going to have to go up against me. Mina just sighed as her body started to go from being solid to a liquid sludge. But what stood out the most is that the sludge was turning pink as it allowed her to double her size. I don't like the fact that you're getting in my way, so I'll just pound you into the sand real quickly. Shoto just lit up his hands in flames. Come at me, Pinky. I'll melt that sludge right off of you and throw you into the sea. Mina takes the first charge as she starts to move around like her body is nothing but water as she starts to close the gap between her and Shoto, only for her to get shot away by Shoto's intense flames. As he thought that he got her, a sludge-like tendril came out from underneath the sand and started to pick him up, only to slam him back and forth and then throw him into the ice-like wall. Mina was giggling a little bit while she was amused as half of her body was still covered in sludge while the other half was singed away by the flames. I truly wasn't expecting you to break through my sludge-like armor so quickly. Shoto shook his head as he got back onto his feet as he noticed a part of his leg was burned. Well, I'm glad to see that your little acid trick is actually starting to work with your sludge form, but I will say that this brawl is still yours to lose. Mina just smiled as she slowly turned her arms into sludge-like tendrils while her legs, torso, and head were exposed in their true form. I was truly hoping that you wouldn't notice so quickly, but oh well. Shoto was enjoying the battle as his feet sunk into the sand. You know, I'm really enjoying this. I was expecting it to be a blowout, but you girls are really trying hard, so I'm going to have to show you some of my secret skills. As he starts to shift his hand around, the sand around the beach starts to mold in gigantic hands around Mina. I'm sorry to tell you this, but the battle will end here. You're fighting within one of my territories. Mina had a worried look on her face, realizing that the next attack between the both of them will be their last. As she was watching the hands come down, Mina decided to focus all of her sludge into one arm like a whip to strike Shoto in the chest as he didn't see it coming because of how fast the attack was coming. As they were both hit hard, making a massive dust cloud, we cut over to the other side of the wall with Izuku and Yumi as they both were circling each other, making sure that her wings were flapping and Izuku's tail was whipping around. ground. Izuku looked up for a second as he noticed the dust cloud coming from the opposite side of the ice wall, realizing that it could only mean one thing. It looks like our teammates took each other out, or they're in critical condition even though they were told not to do that to each other. Yumi looked over as she just shrugged it off. You and I both know that none of us were truly planning to hold back from the beginning. We're trying to treat this like a real fight. Heroes and villains, so I suggest you start doing the same. Izuku just gave an annoyed look as he put both of his hands up into the air as he started to look like he was stretching. So I'm guessing you want me to stop holding back and start using some of my true technique. Yumi kinda looked annoyed thinking about all the fights that they had over the years and wondered if Izuku was actually holding back this entire time. If you hold back against me here, I'll never forgive you. Izuku started to think about what he wanted to do as he realized he didn't want to cripple anybody, as he can only think of one quirk that can get the job done. Alright, but when you're screaming at the top of your lungs begging for mercy, don't say I didn't warn you. Yumi realized that she had to end the battle in one shot or else Izuku was going to take her out completely. As she flew up into the sky using the sun as a blinder, making sure that no one could see where she was flapping her wings. As her feathers start to catch fire as she goes for a major nosedive while spinning like a drill. Izuku saw this and timed his stance as he got his tail out in front of him ready to catch the attack head on. As both of them slammed into each other with a loud bang, flames and flashes start to go flying everywhere. When the smoke cleared, Izuku was on his back in a crater surrounded by burning sand, while Yumi was on her feet breathing heavily, laughing to herself. Did you honestly think catching an attack like that head on was going to not hurt you? You must be crazy, but I will have to thank you for handing us the victory. Yumi noticed something midway through her gloating, that Izuku was melting as it was merging with the beach. As she saw distorted versions of Izuku coming out screaming kill, kill, kill. As she started to freak out and look around, she sees that the entire place started to bleed red. Before she could say anything, she was impaled by several red tendrils throughout her chest. She screamed out in agony before passing out. She noticed that one of the Izukus actually had a jester mask on. This battle was fun, but you really need to learn your place. Welcome to my Crimson Carnival. As we cut back a few seconds in reality, when the impact was happening, Izuku was actually activating his miasma quirk, which caused Yumi to pass out from inhaling, which showed her true nightmare fuel. As she lay down in the sand unconscious, twitching a little bit as she screamed. Izuku rubbed the back of his neck, starting to feel bad about what he just did. Tried to warn you, fighting me is not easy. You have to have a tactic upon tactic and fully know all of my quirks. Maybe then you stand a chance against me. Izuku then starts to hear a loud banging noise as the dividing wall of ice actually starts to break, revealing Mina in a very heavily damaged state holding an unconscious Shoto. Well, I was at least hoping that you got some damage. You look like you never even were fighting over here. Izuku was a little bit shaken seeing his girlfriend hold his brother like a rag doll. Well, it looked like the both of you had some fun. Are you sure you want to fight me? One blast of my wind cannon, I'll probably send you to the other side of the beach, so why don't we just call it for a day? Mina was annoyed but realized that she was tired, hurt from all those sand hands falling on top of her. You get away scot-free this time, but the next time we get to battle, I plan to win. He passes out only to be caught by Izuku in his arms, allowing Shoto to fall into the sand. Toya only whistled in amazement while Endeavor was cheering out in excitement, as Mirako pulled out her phone and started transferring the money to Endeavor that she owed him. Izuku just looked up to the sky with a smile on his face. If this is training before UA, I can't wait to see what we do when we finally get accepted into UA. That's where I'm going to end it off this time, guys. Make sure to check out my Discord and to make sure to leave a like and comment down below. And make sure to check out Saturday's live stream because I'll be showing a bunch of new what ifs I'll be adding to the roster. But with all that said, I'm out, guys. Peace.